It's because they actually want to play Lucian Army, right?
Yep.
Makes it a different dynamic in the draft. OMG, liking the way that the Nico first pick worked in the previous game, so they're going to stick to the Nico. And to be honest, I don't blame them at all. Stuff like XiaoFang could be a potential power pick, and there we go. Coming in for TT off the back of the fact that Lucian, without the Milio, is not going to be on the cards. He's hovering it, Lyric. Are we going to see Abel Samira?
He is. I mean, seriously, he is still playing it in solo queue. I would expect him to bring it out. Other options you have would either be like defaulting back to the Aphelios, but without the melee, that's not something we've really seen as much of. You already highlighted Tristana, something earlier that he could go towards. But with the Renata coming out, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Aphelios paired alongside it.
Breaks my heart. I thought we were going to see it.
We might.
I don't believe the hovers.
No chance.
Oh, okay. It's not a hover. It's locked in. It's Tristana, I'm assuming, going down into the AD carry role for Abel.
I mean, then it would be
some weird Nico flex.
I was going to say, then it'd have to be Nico top or Nico jungle, right? It'd be something wild. You know, maybe Nico bot there. Mole, Mole, the great overlord, bringing us that back in 2020. But kind of looking forward, I mean, now for TT, I think they keep leaning into the draft identity that you kind of set when you draft like a Xia, and now with the Azir, right, which is being able to disengage and play from that range, especially when you're running into something like the Renata that you really don't want to run into yourselves. The only question marks and problems is we didn't really see TT look all that confident doing that in game one when they didn't have someone who could very easily be proactive and set up for some easy engage.
Yeah, we'll see what they're going to go for in the jungle to, like you say, try and set up for that engage, and also up in the top lane as well. But with Maokai gone, Nocturne gone, Lee Sin gone, a lot of the junglers that can kind of force action a little bit, taken off the board. Sejuani obviously still available there. And, you know, things like the Poppy that they did have last game,
yeah.
Poppy didn't really work out for them.
I do think it's funny because I feel like the Poppy would fit like a little bit better, considering that this time they are at least showing like a Tristana as well. If you are just going to play to, you know, zone, kite back, really let OMG be the ones who have to aggress into you. But they might need some more early game power. So I like the Vi lock-in coming through for their side. And now it might just set up for the reverse. XiaoFang, looking at all the dashes he can deny in this game with the Poppy, is just going to lock in. So once again, OMG coming out with a lot of champions that are just going to be so good at fighting these early scraps.
I feel like this is just a much better Poppy angle than it was for TT last game. You know, the Poppy last lock-in didn't really have a lot of dashes to block. The value that XiaoFang can get on his steadfast presence is off the charts in this draft. They also get the Udyr for Cube, so they'll be able to get priority up in that top side. So far, I'm liking the draft coming out from OMG, and I'm excited about the aggression down in that bottom side once again from Abel and Ppgod. It does feel like with Abel back in the roster, OMG are starting to find that definition again.
And it makes sense, right? These are two players who have been playing together, who should have that kind of built-in camaraderie, you know, synergy, just understanding what the other one likes to look for. So we're gonna get that here once again. Abel bringing out the Tristana, I think, makes it a bit more exciting. TT, you're gonna have to be very careful of those early all-ins that are gonna come through. And Munch, I think we both know what we're looking at. We're both gonna be looking at that time when both bot laners are level 3 and both jugglers know the other one's there. They're gonna scrap anyway, and whoever wins that, I think it's gonna be very telling for the following 20 minutes of this game.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how TT play this one out, honestly, they've got what I would call like the 2023 default draft, right? Where you've got the XiaoFang bot, you got the Azir mid, you got the Vi for engage, and then you got K'Sante because you want K'Sante, right? Like, I feel like this is almost just pure default draft up against a very stylized draft on the side of OMG. I'm curious how this plays out, because honestly, when you look at TT as a team, this kind of default draft is not what I typically think of.
No, and like we said, especially when it feels like once we get to mid-game, them wanting to be the ones who are going to need that setup first, going to need to be especially marking flanks and trying to make TT, OMG the ones who are aggressing into them. That is not what worked for them in last game, but they're going to have to do a very similar game plan to win out in this game too.
Let's see if they can make it happen. XiaoFang kind of gifted an early game with those 2 early kills in the bottom side. Whether or not that can happen again It's a different question. Now, Poppy this time is still the least in, so not quite as much, you know, damage in the early stages, but can certainly set up alongside a Tristana to really pop off in an early fight. It's game number 2. OMG with the lead. We'll see if they can keep it running.
Teams
I've
having...
got to be honest, Lyric. Not the most convincing Gios I've ever heard.
I was gonna say a modest amount of support, you know? Try and the silver lining.
God. That's Ghost. Cube's got a Ghost out of Hoya already. And now he's just gonna go and ruin Beichuan's life. Like, how do you get this much value at level 1? He just walks in, bullies out his enemy top laner, gets the summoner spell, and now Beichuan has to start on the other side of the map.
I think the more surprising thing about this is the fact that this is very common with Udirs, right? We see this almost every game of Udyr running into the enemy topside jungle. If they're starting on one of those camps, trying to solo dissuade them just by the fact of how strong his level 1 is. Hoya, just wanting to get some early info on it, like you said, has to burn a summoner. So now Cube should have full control over this top side. Abel and Ppgod starting on the lane already means we know they're going to control bot, and it's going to allow XiaoFang to look for some early aggression.
XiaoFang moves in. We'll see what he can find. Gromp's still up here, but he's not interested in just taking a camp. He wants to take it right from under the nose of Beichuan. Smite comes in, takes all 3 wolves, and Beichuan is sent packing. He got sent packing down to the bottom side. Now he's sent packing back up to the top.
Now has to go rely on those camps. The bot lane becomes harder for 1xN and qiuqiu, who already didn't control the wave, right? Ppgod enabled, didn't have to leash. Now just going to open up for so much aggression. I love that they're pivoting this into just denying the vision that TT got, because now you're going to be consistently scared, especially if any heavy trades come through. That XiaoFang's going to be able to look for some ganks or even potentially set up for a dive. Luckily, health bars aren't that low yet, but this wave's going to be huge.
I'm pretty sure Abel was holding his level up point, not leveling his E until pushing this cannon wave so that they could get the crash. Wanted to slow push it, wanted to deny as many minions as possible while building that slow push up. Good to see those little mechanics coming into play. Hoya kind of struggling in the top side. Obviously, a lot of minions there to pick up, but already heftily down in CS, and Cube is going to be loving every second of this early lane.
Yeah, and it's even with the fact that we expect the Udyr to be ahead in the 1v1 in this lane. We see it consistently. The one thing you're kind of playing for as the K'Sante is the kind of slight over-aggression come out from the Udyr, where maybe he goes for like a bit of a trade, finds some damage on you, turret aggro procs, and you find that Q3 under turret. We have seen Udyrs go down a couple of times to that play coming through.
It does feel like, oh, that's unlucky. It does feel like it's, like you say, mostly the Udyr's faults when that does happen. But K'Sante is one of those champions that offers you the playmaking ability to manage to do things. Abel, good buffer on W. And I feel like we're going to see that little combination happen relatively often down in the bottom side. And the most annoying thing about Tristana, even when qiuqiu's level 6 and has the charm, so long as you're pressing W before Rakan's under you, you'll still buffer it all.
Oh, I wonder if he's going to end up getting pinched. They know he's in this area. Should be able to escape.
I think he can just dash across here, right? And or just execute. He's just going to execute. Why not hit the wave on the way? Beichuan takes a camp and just leaves it at that.
You know, I think it's completely fine. Gonna be able to get the base a little bit faster, start heading back to his camps, right? Only having Red Bull and Wolves up, so we're gonna head down towards that bot side. Potentially reading like, hey, also wanting to cover my bot lane, getting this wave in as well. Maybe they didn't assume that XiaoFang would run all the way back up towards top. And a very slow early game so far. Not too different from last time, right? Because we've had both teams kind of poke and prod for some aggression to come through. But nothing able to be confirmed just yet. But now, Munch, we're getting to the point where neutral objectives are spawning. We got some grubs, we got some drakes. So maybe the teams will be forced to say hello.
Maybe we'll get some action. Just a little tip for anyone who's a little bit newer to League of Legends there. You saw a bit of damage come through from Ppgod during the recall, but the recall still went through anyway. If you are shielded, even if you take a bit of damage, it won't interrupt your recall. So qiuqiu's passive, the shield being up on the Rakan, and that they still get the recall, and then obviously Xayah can't get to recall together. So Fun little interaction. Very annoying for anyone that's playing against XiaoFang. But it is going to be the Grubbies taken on the top side by XiaoFang. TT on the opposite side going to be able to grab themselves their first Drake of the game. Chemtech Drake to start things off for them. A very tempered beginning, which honestly for TT, you are more than happy with the early game being this tempered. When you're against the Tristana bot, when you're against the Udyr with this much pressure top, you're very okay with a slow early game.
Yeah, I think TT, like you said, completely fine. Just going to try and play to their points of power. There is some opportunity to start looking for some aggression bot, right? You're up against like double squishy bot lane duo. Would be very easy if qiuqiu can get on top of Ppgod for Beichuan to be able to follow up. But OMG just done such a good job of dissuading any of the advised aggression towards bot side. Maybe once he pats down after taking these Krugs top side, maybe then. But again, I feel like bot laners have been so much more consistent about like keeping up vision control around their lane that it looks harder to find those ganks.
I just love that Udyr on this top side gets the plate, walks past the tower into the jungle, sees Beichuan there and thinks, can I take some of these Krugs? There's not even a thought of backing away there. He's confident in the 2v1 at this point in the game. Beichuan going to try and get something in the jungle. He's going to discover that there is nothing there. So unfortunately, unsuccessful counter jungle. No, the Wolves have respawned. I take it all back. Beichuan finding himself a little prize.
Might potentially lose his blue buff. I don't, who knows how far XiaoFang's willing to go without an exact read of where Beichuan is. It'd be very easy for him to start making his way in. It looks like he will. You don't have that tri-brush warded, so again, potential opportunities there for XiaoFang to find a gank in bot side. You also have complete prio in the mid lane coming out from Angel, so he'd be easily able to follow up.
Yeah, that's a lot of logic, Lyric, but XiaoFang ain't scared, and that's all that matters, XiaoFang's going in, and he's taking that blue buff, because you know what? That ain't Beichuan's blue buff, that's XiaoFang's blue buff. We set up today that XiaoFang was going to be one leading the charge today, and it does feel that that's the case. He knows he's got stronger solo lanes, he knows he's got a strong bot lane, and he's quite happy to take advantage of that, answering the 2 camps that Beichuan took with 3 on the opposite side.
Yeah, and we still see Angel hovering over, which makes me think maybe some sort of action comes through. Beichuan gonna make his way down. OMG would have a really good angle pinch. Beichuan did commit, but looks like he will just go away. The craziest part about like XiaoFang coming in and kind of being this bright spot on OMG is he's coming from top esports challenger team where he was always the jungler under Nio. He wasn't the starter. He was second in line to be playing for that team. Comes in and again has kind of been the bright spot for OMG, even in some of their losses, even in maybe their lackluster win over WE. So it's kind of nicer to see all the, how far the talent line in LPL goes. Where we're getting even subs coming in and having promising performances.
I mean, honestly, it does not feel like XiaoFang is a rookie on this team, Like, he does not feel like a rookie player right now, but it's great to see. It's great to see such a solid performance to start your split. 1,000 gold lead in favor of OMG, which a lot of that is going to be down to taking these places. Abel trying to dodge the feathers, will get plate down in the bottom side. And might have to back away here. He's 2v1 in the bottom side for now, but qiuqiu just continuing the relentless assault. Hoya is going to cancel that recall. I was going to say, you're going to lose a tower if you go for that recall. But I think qiuqiu will still get a plate regardless.
Yeah, qiuqiu does not care what's in his way. Thinking about the point I made about like how deep LPL talent goes. I mean, hell, it's actually easy to even like think about other teams with that too, like the JDG top laner, right? The one under Flandre, who we did see the Mossy Cup. Sheer hasn't played, in LPL yet, but I mean, he was just on their youth team, wasn't even playing in the LDL. Gets signed, gets brought into, again, at some point potentially be a starter. So it's just crazy how many of these like little gems are sitting there either in solo queue or in like high school leagues or whatever.
And it's awesome to see, like, from the teams being able to pick up these players. It's also awesome from the player perspective, right? Like, imagine you're Xia. Imagine you're this guy, like, you like League of Legends a lot, you're pretty good, you managed to get on a youth team, and then it's like, boom, you're the sub for the main roster for JDG, the team that won MSI last year, the team that a lot of people thought were going to be favorites for Worlds. Unfortunate ending to that story, but regardless, the talent that Xia is surrounded by in that roster, like, you are set up for a career in that position.
Yeah, and hell, I guess it just goes to show for teams like J&G Brock, because I remember they did bring in their sub-in laner at some point last year. I believe it was for just like one series, gave him a bit of stage time. So a lot of these orgs definitely showing they're willing to invest in their futures. Is now 3 seconds until Drake. Here we go. We're locking it, Joe. We're locking it.
I was just, since we've not actually got a fight on the screen, it's kind of the opposite mantra to like EDG, where it's like, rather than invest in your own guy, just invest in T1's guys. Like that's the plan for EDG. Here we go. Drake coming up. Both junglers in the area. So OMG trying and grab bot prio.
Bro, there's 0-3. There's 0-3. You're just casually dropping some EDG play. My God.
It wasn't flame. I was just stating the fact that rather than trade their own talent, they take the talent for. To be fair, they've also got Vampire in the roster, so they are bringing up their own talent. It was. I was just joking, guys. Calm down. Yeah. Linda, don't at me.
I mean, you were also just being factually correct, right? I brought multiple people over from T1, but now we've waited enough. We've told enough stories about other players who are on these teams.
Oh, good steadfast presence there. Completely denies the engage from qiuqiu. Luckily for qiuqiu, didn't use the ultimate or anything like that. Hoya desperately at this point trying to stop these waves going under the tower because he knows the next wave to go under the tower. That's the tower gone. But he's losing a lot of health in these trades.
Yeah, not able to keep up. Ucal has him for survive, but doesn't want to throw it out before any sums come through from Angel. She's going to be able to find a really good trade to come out of it. Yeah. My God, man.
I was so sure Ucal was going to go for the ult there, but ends up just taking a massive chunk because he just didn't commit to the play. I can see where he was going, but Angel not falling for it, not going to go for the flash preemptively. And well done by Angel to read it completely. It will open up this dragon for OMG. One apiece now. And again, so far, so good. 2,000 gold league now for OMG as Hoya. Has he found an opportunity onto this Udyr? Still sparring back and forth, but the all-out available. And Cube is going to respect it. He backs away.
Yeah, not going to end up looking for that in the end. So now we're getting to this point where, once again, OMG picking up some of their first items a little bit ahead of their counterparts. I mean, you're expecting 1xN to be sitting on the gold to be able to finish that one up, but I am a bit surprised we haven't seen Abel look for the rocket jump in just yet. I mean, quickness available, Featherstorm available. Would be quite hard to find any kills right now, but definitely going for some types of trades to be able to force these summoners push that lead a little bit further. Because like you said, TT, it feels like they're fine even being at a slight gold disadvantage, just in terms of what carries they have for the longer this game goes on and like what kind of tools they have to play with. But I don't know if I have the faith in kind of TT playing around that logic.
I think that's the thing, right? If this is JDG with this composition, I don't mind that they fall behind. You know, if this is T1 with this composition, I don't mind that they fall behind. However, TT have not been like the late game team fight team so far this split. It's not like that's the identity they've built for themselves. I'm hoping that this is something that is well drilled and well prepped. The problem is you're against a composition that can snowball really, really hard. And yeah, right now it's fine, but if you continue to concede things over the next few minutes, if you concede more Drakes, if you concede a Herald, maybe a Baron, that's when things are going to become very, very difficult for this TT roster. So we will need to see, maybe around the 20-25 minute mark, we're going to have to start seeing them contesting things like the Drakes, or they're just going to end up foregoing Soul and they'll lose control of the game at that point. There's a Mountain Soul as well, which, I mean, on both of these rosters, you're going to get a lot of value out of Mountain Soul.
I will say at least they managed to pick up one, and it's not like OMG were very decisive about picking up the other one either, right? So there's going to be quite a bit of time before we have to worry about anything like Souls or Soul Point coming on through. So for now, just going to be happy catching waves. I think just making sure you have a bit of a defensive vision line throughout your own jungle, maybe getting some shallow vision in river like they're trying to do now, would do a lot of things to making sure the Nico, the Poppy, the Tristana aren't just running into your jungle and trying to set up for those vision denial plays.
Yeah, I like the TTR still, like you say, contesting, you know? They're still making themselves known on the map. Tristana brings a lot of value in terms of being able to get priority in the mid lane. You threaten the potential all-in, but you can also just essentially one-shot the wave with your E. Can bring a lot of value. The 6 grubs as well, by the way, taken by OMG. So potential advantage there. However, I just feel like a little while since we saw any of them actually get close to a tower.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while. This game of League of Legends so far definitely feels like vanilla ice cream, and I'm a huge proponent of vanilla. It's like, it's just a great flavor. It's simple, it's easy, but I don't know. The vanilla ain't hitting the right way so far.
I don't know.
We need some sherbet.
I don't mind a bit of Neapolitan, you know. There's the vanilla there. You still get the default.
Yeah.
But you've
No,
also
I
got
agree.
a bit of chocolate, bit of strawberry in there. Something a bit different, like a, I don't know, Tristana AD carry, perhaps. Maybe that's the chocolate sauce. Or maybe not. As you said,
Yeah.
it was the whole game, not just the TT comp. So
It was
yeah,
just-
I sort of ruined the metaphor a little bit there.
I do agree, though. Neapolitan, in my mind, is kind of like the way to go. It's kind of the way to go.
Maybe I'm basic. I'm a sucker for the cookie dough. Cookie dough ice cream is just too good.
And, like, I get it. I'm sold on the cookie dough part, but I feel like I'd rather just have cookie dough rather than cookie dough ice cream. I feel like the ice cream detracts from the cookie dough.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the whole thing is a bit weird. Like, there's raw egg in that, isn't there? Like, that's...
Yeah.
You're playing a dangerous game. But here we go. TP bot lane coming out from TT. Cube underneath his tower, just trying to clear the wave. They're not even diving him. They're just committing to getting the tower.
Is this LPL? Are we doing our jobs? Like, did we show up to the right place?
Maybe.
This is crazy.
Oh, we're accidentally receiving the LCK feed, I think. Yeah, this is a weird, especially from TT. This is not the TT I know.
We have like bounties being built up on the Nico, the Tristana without really anything happening yet. We have all 6 grubs picked up by OMG, a lot of pushing power there. There's like so much opportunity for so much to explode onto the screen,
Yeah.
but now we put our faith in. Third dragon is up, Mountain is here. There's a ward in the mid lane. It's a red team ward, which means it's a TT ward bunch. If we start talking like we're really excited and something's about to happen, that will will it into existence. Look at the Udyr. Look at him go, Hoya. Gonna pick up this wave. He's gonna do it.
Yeah, you remind me of that, I don't know if you remember, there was a clip of Rivington casting a million years ago, and like nothing is happening for the whole game, and he's like, here we go, in the mid lane, pushing minions! And I don't know, that's just one of my favorite clips of League of Legends.
The Riv Kha'Zix clip is just like absolutely one of the most goated moments in League of Legends. Sorry to tangent that.
Neutral monster battle!
Let's go!
It's just enlisting Herald to help with the Drake. Didn't quite work, but you know what? I'm here for it. Just using it as a ride. It's a taxi service now.
It's actually been crazy how many times we've seen that used as a taxi service, but not even necessarily intentionally every time. I especially love when you see supports kind of maneuver the Herald around the map and looking like, oh, hey, I've never done this before.
Yeah, it's definitely a mechanic that takes a little bit of getting used to. Very easy to just immediately run into a wall. But here we are. A little bit of taxi service. That was fun to watch. And we're back. We're back to the ping pong.
You have any...
You know, over in the LCK, they call this a lull state, I've heard. I've never seen one of these before.
It's been a while. So, you have any nice weather?
The weather has been okay. Surprisingly okay. I think pretty much everywhere else in the UK it's been horrendous. But it is Isle in Nottingham. So that's exciting. What riveting commentary.
And there Ucal goes, walking into the brush, circling around. That one enclave in topside. As there we go. Baron about to spawn. Surely the Baron draws a lot of action. Looks the top half of the map, and GT don't just keep farming.
Now we see the Baroness Maximus in Latin, or Baron to the layman, spawning in his pit. The Birdmen are near, but they'll be denied entry by the Chemical Lady, who drops a ward. Up to the top side of the map now. As the
we
TT
go,
is a timid monster. But
the riveting action in the bot side. Okay, lots It's coming through. The
God,
Phoenix not
so
in
much
his form.
damage to one another. Oh my god, I just want something to happen now. You know, we did a segment to start this series off about how OMG were quite happy with literally nothing happening in the game. Well, I don't think they were happy about it, but they didn't seem to know how to do anything about it. And then game number one, they come out swinging. They just annihilate TT. They show us that they could do the early game, that they could be proactive, that they could make things happen. And now we get into game number two, and we're just vibing.
It like, to me, when you think about it from OMG, it's like, why wouldn't you? I mean, they've given you the last 2 dragons for free. They didn't contest Heralds. Okay, XiaoFang gonna find qiuqiu, who is Rakan is the champion who can walk forward as much as he wants, and he has so many avenues to get out. I even remember talking to okay, I don't know why I'm expecting.
They got within 4.4 meters of one another. Lyric got excited.
There we
Here
go.
Steadfast Presence does deny the escapes. The handshake is in. We've got a kill on the screen. Beichuan's next, but he dashes out to safety. OMG, they finally find something.
Come on, OMG, you got the momentum. Let's turn it into a Baron. We're gonna do it. We got things going on the rip, and that is what we love to see. Okay, TPs have to come out much. They have to threaten.
They've got to try. 9k on the Baron here. Angel denying entry to 1xN, and Hoya in the meantime. Cube doing the same on the top side of the play, but Ucal's in trouble here. Empress Divide already going to be used, but the Baron is 1 HP. Angel goes down. They're peeling off of the Baron. This is disaster for OMG. Hoya is flanking the whole team right here, and he is damn tanky. The all-out pulls him to safety, and a bonus kill on the end for 1xN. TT tear OMG to shreds.
And TT showing us why they were fine, just sitting and farming for 20 minutes, because now it is somehow all going to pay off with the Baron, and that's going to give them the pushing power they need to really to start taking more than the 1 turret they've gotten so far in this game.
What a way to go for OMG. What a way to go. A really rough fight for them. Very split call, and it felt like there were very different ideas of what was happening there.
Yeah, and you know, the first initial pick's good. They were being patient. They knew that TT were going to want to keep trying to contest for the vision to come through. But like you said, it feels a little bit split. I like that we have the Udyr especially just zoning other members out from pit, but you're opening up avenues for TT to be able to come in and take this. Once they all get off the Baron and they have to worry about these 3 different angles to play from with Hoya coming from under, it just feels like it's so hard for OMG's comp to be able to fight from that position.
I mean, the tough thing as well is, like, Ucal is chilling. He's got his ult up. He's stood at the other side of the wall, full vision of everything. And everyone from OMG is trying to walk into him, but he's just there. He just puts his soldiers up and just auto-attacks. He got so much damage out in that fight without really having to do that much to achieve it. Fantastic stuff from TT, and OMG fight right into their open arms. And now that gold lead is gone. Drake up on the map, and OMG will be the ones to start it. The TT are in the area, and I think they do want to contest this one. 7k on the Drake as they back away here. OMG, are they going to commit to this one? Looks like they are going to go for a 50-50. No, they're not. They've got a Poppy. It's never a 50-50. Now Hoya could be in trouble. All out to try and get himself to safety. Redemption comes on through. qiuqiu with a big engage. This is 2v5, and OMG haven't done any damage yet. Now Beichuan can move into the play. Straight onto the back line he goes. The XiaoFang low on HP. Hoya on the front line here, but will finally go down. qiuqiu's next to fall, and the healing comes across the team as well. Abel dives on forwards for more, but Ucal's still strong at this point. 1xN can't find the route. OMG will back away 2 for 1, and a Drake for OMG.
And that's the most important thing, right? The fact that OMG were able to pick up the Drake, get onto Soul Point for themselves, and now a lot of threat going into that next one, especially like how hard it's going to be to kill the Poppy, kill the Udyr. Once we do get up the Soul, TT doing a nice job. I like still buffing up the wave to make sure that damage is coming across onto turret.
Man, Cube just does not take damage at this point. Just tanks the feathers as well, so the minions can't get near the tower. Yeah, we're in the point where both Cube and Hoya are practically invincible. I mean, the amount of time that Hoya was stood inside all 5 players here and just not taking damage.
No, I mean, to be fair, right? Abel hasn't autoed like it all in this instance so far in the replay. But buying enough time, Beichuan wanting to try and find an opportunity to single him out, but isn't able to. And then just the turn potential to come through from this Pop Blossom, buying so much space feels like what really helped turn the fight in favor of OMG.
So a little interaction there from Angel. Managed to get his stealth off just as Beichuan was trying to ult him. So actually cancelled the animation. And then obviously Beichuan changes targets, goes for Abel instead. But really nice. I don't know if that's intentional or luck, but either way, Angel gets away with it. Very nicely done by him. And that is 3 Drakes taken. That is 1 point away from Mountain Soul. That'll be up in 3 minutes. Baron up in 2.5. And now, TT, you've got to show us what you're made of. You're getting to the late game. We've got 3 items on the Azir. We've got 3 items just finished now on 1xN as well. Our tanks are getting tanky. Now is the point where you've got to win these team fights.
And now, again, now they're looking incredibly strong. Even having the Anathemas come out for Hoya to make Abel's life a little bit harder. Still, though, I mean, we saw in that last fight, right? The amount of burst, the amount of... I especially love how earlier you pointed out how OMG's comp can just snowball out of control, because even just taking that out of the context of a game as a whole, even in just in a singular team fight, that's true, right? Just from the fact that Abel and Tristana can be able to keep getting those rocket jumps and pulverizing forward. So TT have to be very careful. That's also why I kind of liked that Beichuan had to pivot his ult to Abel. Feels like it's just a much better target than Angel overall.
Yeah. It does feel dangerous to ult the Nico, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially now that these Zanyas.
Yeah, the counter ult immediately can come on through. That is a big moment for Angel as well. That Zhonya is no longer just the defensive item that it once was. Big buff to the AP this year. And with this Storm Surge, he can do massive damage in a team fight and then immediately keep himself safe with that Zhonya's. It's a dangerous spot for TT if they find themselves in the wrong position. We'll keep our eyes on Angel and what he can do using those clones to try and keep himself safe, but also whether or not he can, you know, pull off a minion play. He is playing that Nico. Not seeing that much in the way of shenanigans so far this game.
No, hasn't really been able to look for anything. There was quite a few times where he did have Cryo in mid earlier in the game, and he was like slightly leaning for XiaoFang to be able to look for those invades, but never really turned into anything more than that. Still, though, we have seen in the last few fights that he has had some pretty impactful ultimates.
Yeah.
So definitely excited to see him going into the next one. And now we know OMG really have no reason to try and force anything until this next dragon spawns. TT you'd expect to match. I wonder if they're going to go for any shenanigans of like threatening an earlier Baron coming through and trying to pull OMG up to that side.
Yeah. One thing TT do have is an incredibly fast Baron. With a Zion and a Azir, you do just two-shot the objective. But whether or not they can gain the control to be able to do that, so far they have vision control. You can see control wards in both entrances to the Baron River from the side of TT. But whether or not they can maintain that control is a different question. You can see Beichuan moving down towards the Drake area. It's up in 12 seconds. I don't think either team is really seriously looking at the Baron right now. We're looking at Mountain Soul for OMG or denial of that for TT.
Yeah, for TT, they would have had to go for Baron right when it spawned to like force that fight right then and there with their vision advantage, had they wanted to use that. But now they've just allowed OMG to do the same thing. Now OMG denying vision. OMG should be able to find favorable positions as Angel. I think he's trying to find a way to wrap around, but I do believe that TT's used double ward up there.
Oh, he pretended to be the clone. That's huge. Beichuan forced to flash. XiaoFang jumped on top of him, and now the rest of the fight on the other side. But Q body blocking for his AD carry. Beichuan, no ult, no flash. Same for XiaoFang, but at least he has the Hex flash.
Yeah, he's going to be feeling fine. I'm still surprised that even after chunking Beichuan out, they don't feel more confident about trying to lean into that bot side river. Now we can see TT sending 1xN, took up Dragon by himself, and OMG just not going to be in a great position to really force anything here.
This is the OMG macro happening again, where they just kind of ARAM and panic a little bit. I don't seem confident on what the plan is right now. They've started the Baron, but it's a little bit late. 1xN can make his way on over. 10,000 on the objective as Hoya moves in to try and contest. Beichuan doesn't have the flash, but he can just queue into the pit. This is so dangerous for OMG. Oh, we really could have flipped the objective now. 3K on it. They've left the pit. Beichuan just walks in, but it's still taken by OMG. Great smite from XiaoFang, and now the fight to follow up. Wave across the team here, but can they find the fight? Abel out to safety here. qiuqiu's solo, and Abel flashes straight on top of him. The Featherstorm keeps 1xN alive for a second, but not for long enough. Ucal to fall, and OMG almost wipe TT.
OMG, even with their hesitancy, able to pull ahead in the team fight, especially the Tristana maneuvering around with the rocket jump. Now they're going to be able to do quite a bit of work to the base. Hell, 40 seconds of both carries. Yeah, they probably just win.
Absolutely ridiculous fight from OMG. So much indecision leading up to it, but they start the Baron. They get the smite. They get the fight for themselves. Phenomenal bit of play from OMG in the end, and out of nowhere, OMG find themselves a 2-0 victory over TT.
What an unbelievable... Honestly, I was going to say game, but series overall, but my God, 20 minutes without a kill coming through from either side. Both teams, it seems like, kind of having their reasons and their logic behind it, right? OMG thinking, well, you are just going to give us everything, so I guess we'll just take all the easy stuff that you're giving us. TT, it makes sense too. It looked like they were trying to get to a point where they felt like they would just outright win any of these team fights. But still, what a strange look from TT, who, against LNG, they were just so bloodthirsty, not falling back